There's a Bible verse I think about sometimes. Many times. It goes, and I heard the voice of the Lord saying, who shall I send? Who shall I send? And who will go for us? Go for us.
Ideas like a virus. A virus. Silly.
I said, here am I. Send me. Send me.
I'm going to tell you the story of a scroll, a critical scroll to both the Jew and Gentile. The Hebrew and Christian, we would call it a book of the Bible, but to the original audience, this is no book. This is a way of life. This book is one of the 5 books of Moses. It's in the middle book. Spoiler alert, that's important. Do you know what book it is? It's the one that ear holes you every year as you try and read through the Bible. If you have ever tried to do one of those read through the Bible things in a year, or made a goal of yours to read cover to cover, no excuses, no stops this year, then you get to this one. And the air brakes pop, and so does your brain. You get the lines like, quote, when a person sins, in that he hears a public curse against one who fails to testify, and he is a witness, and he doesn't make it known, then he will bear his punishment for iniquity, end quote. What's that now, God? It sounds like Alec Baldwin famously says in Beetlejuice when he's reading from the book of the recently deceased.
This thing reads like stereo instructions.
Exactly. I am, of course, talking about the book of Leviticus, the rule book. One of the toughest reads for any new believer. Hell, any old believer. What the heck is this book talking about? What are these rules? What are these laws? Why in the world is this relevant to me 3,000 years later? We don't kill animals anymore to help our sin problem, do we? Do Jewish people do that anymore? Why would God want to sacrifice an animal anyways? Who does this help? Why is it here? Great questions. Everybody calm down. Don't skip this episode now that I told you it's Leviticus. I promise. Give it a chance. I will make this book so much better for you, or at least that's my goal. I kept having people come up to me and ask me what my next topic was. I didn't know after John, to be honest. I'll discuss anything if somebody wants to talk about it. The funny thing was the thoughts and rules and what we are supposed to do with this, they kept coming my way. And I very recently found the beauty in this fascinating book, and I wanted to show you what I found and make this book come alive. So with no further ado, let's get into it. First things first, what I wish every pastor would do, or Bible teacher laying things out, what's the groundwork? Who is talking? Who is the audience? What time frame are we in? Where are we? Who's after us? What just happened to us prior? Why rules now? Did Abraham not get the rules? Adam, Seth, Enoch, Noah? Why is this huge list of laws given to Moses by Yahweh? You can almost think of Leviticus as like a user's guide for priests. Don't worry, it's not. But it's easy to see how smart people have called it that in the past when trying to get a modern audience to relate to it. And before you clock out mentally on this, let me guide you back to Genesis 1 and 2, which I always do. And remember, we were originally supposed to be image bearers, right? We are called to be priest kings that rule and reign over creation with our Creator. So there you go. I need you to pay attention to that when I get into the rules and regs here, okay? This is all about God's space, our space, how we are called to behave and operate in this new fallen post-flood, post-plagues of Egypt, new normal, largely due to our falling away. And here is the ultimate question. How does the author of life stay in a relationship with a people that seem to love death? Ouch. That's a tough one out of the gates, Tyler, but I'm serious. How many discussions have you had with people where you ask, what happens after we die? Have you had those fun sociological discussions to feel smart, or were you actually supposed to treat others while we happen to be alive and be nice to them? I like the faraway look of end time study because it's just a guess. No one knows. If they tell you they know, do not listen to them. And let's get into it. Leviticus 3 has 3 basic sections. This is how the Bible Project laid it out. They call it movements. I like that. That frame of reference is so much better. I'm not going to go into as much structure and placement of the book, but I could do a whole series on that. But I think with this audio medium, this is the best way to do it. I speak from an enthusiastic point as I discover these things. I want to tell others. I read we're supposed to do that somewhere. But we have to talk about at least where this is in the book of the Bible. So people are not familiar with chiasms, the first Jewish 5 books. It's kind of their thing, so I think it would be disrespectful if I didn't at least acknowledge the beauty of that. So Leviticus is the 3rd book of the Hebrew Bible. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the Christian Bible. The setting of this book is right after Exodus. Genesis, Exodus. Hooray, we're free from slavery in Egypt. The army of darkness that was following us, they got washed away in the chaos waters. Here we are. We're at the foot of Mount Sinai. Yahweh wants to enter into a relationship again. That's great news. He wants to renew the vows. Hooray. God's in our midst. Moses is the established mouthpiece of God. He struggled early in his career, but he's found his stride now, baby. Hooray, our prophet leader is also giving us heavenly wisdom. God even invites his people into his hot spot, top of the mountain. The people freak out. They don't want to go up there. That's okay. Moses isn't afraid. He goes up there. 40 days, 40 nights. He's hanging out, tabernacling with God, chilling. While he's up there, the people get anxious. They get nervous. They panic. They make a new god for themselves. They use the gold from Egypt to fashion a bull. You guys know this story. And the ending of Exodus shows us that it has Moses. Yes, that Moses. Even he is not allowed into the tent. He can't get close to God's presence. Dude, Moses can't get in? I mean, who's getting in then? That's super bad news. If I'm a Jewish person reading the scroll, I want to grab the next scroll and be like, oh, what happened? Here's what happened. This is where we go into Leviticus, and this is the perpetuation of our story from Genesis to John's Revelation. It starts with God calling Moses into the tent, the tabernacle. That's what it is. It's a tent. So the point of this book is to show us how to reconcile that. How does a perfect God with no flaws and exuding pure radiance out onto anything it comes in contact with? How does that entity partner and co-mingle with its own creation that's gotten off the rails? Good question. The ancients had the same thought, and we have a scroll dictating it to us. That's what this book is. It's beautiful. I'm telling you, just wait. These rules are for us, okay? These are not for God. A holy God doesn't need protection. Does that make sense? We do, because he's holy. Holy means like set apart, unique. That's what it means in Hebrew. So for us to have a chance at a relationship with the creator of the universe, we need to be prepared. So let's dumb it down to about 99%. Let's say president of your company is like, Tyler, we need to have a meeting. It's out of nowhere. It's at 8 a.m. the next day. What do I wear? Do I brush my teeth? Do I comb my hair? Do I shave? Now flip it. You're taking the trash out 6 a.m. on a Friday. Do you think about your hair, your outfit? Did you shine your shoes? Probably not. Why are you asking these dumb questions? Because you've got to come correct when you are showing up to this party. This party. As my dad would say, when the world sees you, you see the world. When you see the world sees you. It has nothing to do with your clothes or shine shoes or comb hair. That's not the point. The point's effort. Effort. Why do companies like to hire college graduates? It's dumber than you think. Going to college, I mean, I'm not going to get into this, but it used to be an incredible differentiator in the career path. You would go there and learn things that the people out in the middle of nowhere couldn't learn. I don't really think it's like that anymore, but what I'm saying is job recruiters love to see a degree because if anything, it just means you showed up at a building for 4 years, you took examinations that you had to prepare for on your own time, and you passed. That's about it. That's what you do for the rest of your life because unless you have a specific degree that goes into your knowledge, you will use your work ethic. You'll use your tenacity, your creativity. That's what you learn. Mommy and daddy aren't doing your laundry anymore. So that's, let's start that discussion. This isn't laws so we can point fingers at each other. So, with God, can something be both good and dangerous at the same time? I've mentioned this before, but if you've ever read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, C.S. Lewis, masterpiece if you haven't. But there's a godlike Jesus character in the book, of course, in the form of a beautiful and strong lion named Aslan. And there's a famous line in the book where Lucy is in the land of Narnia. She's talking to Mr. Beaver, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. So she's asking about Aslan the lion, and she says to Mr. Beaver, is he safe? And Mr. Beaver says, of course he's not safe, but he's good. He's the king. Boom. That's it. That's it. I get in this right here. That's the concept. Of course Aslan the lion is dangerous, Lucy. He's a freaking lion. But don't worry, he loves us. He wants to take care of us. But does that mean Mr. Beaver is saying Aslan is tame? Absolutely not. Matter of fact, he's going out of his way to make sure his new friend knows that, yes, the Lion King, he's on our side. But he is in no way, shape, or form safe, little Lucy Lou. I hate to burst your bubble, but that doesn't mean he's distant. It just means we have to respect the space. How do we do that? Let the dance begin. All right, that's enough sizzle. Let's get into the steak. The Olah, the Shelamim, and the Chatat. I'll say normal words from now on, but because my Hebrew's terrible. We'll get into the Hebrew of those, but that's a burnt offering, a peace offering, and a sin offering. If you've heard those, you know those. An Olah it's a better word than a burnt offering because that word means that which is offered up. It's a going up offering. What does smoke and vapor and incense do? It goes up. It goes to God. That's it. See, it's not that bad. It's not hard. So an olah is a going up offering because it goes all to God. The entirety of the offering is God's. Take it. It's yours. That's the posture of the ritual. It is consumed in total at the altar. That's important. I'll explain that later. But to show you some texts that go with this, let's quote Leviticus 1:9. The priest shall offer it all upon the altar. It is an olah, an offering of fire of pleasing fragrance to Yahweh. The end. End quote. So the next category is a peace offering, shelamim. The Hebrew for this is oneness, wholeness. This word just kind of means shalom. It sounds like shalom, and that's on purpose. How do we make peace, little image bearers? You come together. Just like the Beatles taught us, the meat of this sacrifice is to be shared. So that means the priest gets some, the owner of the sin gets some, and God gets some. Does that make sense? That's the difference. The chatat, the sin offering, this is all of chapter 4. This is like legal terms. This happened, and this is the resolution. Tort reform, tort law. This is brought by someone who's done something, maybe on accident. Maybe I violated a law. It wasn't vengeful. There's still damage done that needs to be, indemnified. Maybe a child started a fire. I mean, that's a problem. So for this one, what do you think is the setup for the offering? Who eats who on this one? What do you think? Did you say that part of the meat is offered at the altar and the rest goes to the priests? That's right. So 30,000-foot view, that's the basics. I'll get into it. That's probably already way more than you ever knew of this Hebrew scroll. And if I stop right now, you'd have at least a little nugget. But I beg you don't, because the deeper we go, the bigger the buzz. That's what Michael Heiser taught me. So let's keep going. That's the dragnet version of Leviticus. That's what everyone is looking for in this book, that before they get into the depths, just the facts, ma'am. Why, God? Have you ever asked God that question? Me neither. Why these rules? Why the blood? Why the tent? Why the smoke? Cui bono? Who benefits? And what is your why behind this, God? Here's the answer, as it always is. We have to go back. We have to see these offerings for the first time they happened. It's a hearken. It's a callback to these old stories, these Sunday school stories. You just missed it. So the first notion that you need of reconciliation with our Maker, what's the first sin you can think of, Sunday school kids, in the Bible? It's a pretty easy one, I hope. It is. In English, we have a great word for the concept of sin. You sang it in songs and in prayer, and it is transgression. In the garden, a border was crossed, right? A line is broken. Mandate not lived out. Some might say, what does the concept of crossing borders have to do with sin? That's a good point. When I go back to the garden and I think of God's command to Adam and Eve, quote Genesis 2:16, of every tree of the garden you shall eat. Yes, eat. But as of the tree of knowledge of good and bad, you must not eat of it, end quote. For my in-depth thought on what I think happened there in the garden with Eve and the serpent, please go back to the Cain series. I cover it in full detail, but for now, I want to land the plane on the idea of the heavenly realm and the earthly realm. Right here, we have a creator letting us know the rules of the Monopoly board. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Oh, and this tree, that one right there, the one behind the velvet rope. Everyone, Adam, look at me when I'm talking to you, Adam. Everything else in creation is yours. But please, for your sake, not mine, don't eat this tree. It is a boundary for me, gang. I'm asking you to trust me and know that I know what's best. I'm begging you, lay off the tree. Maybe God didn't talk like that, but for the frame of reference here I'm trying to think of him saying it like this. Hey, Adam, there is something in this tree that is more me than you need. It needs to remain mine. Everything else I will gladly give you. But that tree in the garden, which I need to reserve, I need to keep it for myself, okay? So I'd like to say a really Christian thing right here, but I am a flawed human. I don't know about you, but after I just heard that, the first and only thing I want to do is get that tree, man. I don't know what it is. We're so counterproductive. I mean, praise God for his patience, but with me at least. I mean, if he's like, only you can do everything, just don't touch that, then I'm like, what's that? What's that over there?
Yeah, I want to touch it.
He knows that. He knows that grind inside of us, like once that happened. So the real reason I want to throw in some real life is because this is what we deal with every day. Sin potential in our face. The concept of the forbidden fruit is like a warm bath to us, man. We know that feeling. Eve gets way too much blame here, in my opinion. The feature of all sin starts in a subtle way, just like the first one. The Parker brothers put us on the Monopoly board. They tell us the rules. They let us know the boundaries. There's a sign, a fence, a warning, yellow tape. It is restricted, off limits. Yeah, but I mean, God, come on, it's right there. I mean, it's right there. And he's like, I know, but you can't. And if you do, we are not square because you have now trespassed into God's domain. Now what? Slap on the wrist, pat on the head. It's not about following the rules for the sake of the rules. The cost of the first rule break was at the grand total of losing eternity in the garden with God. So like Lloyd Christmas said when he hands the bad guy an IOU for $275K for that Lambo in Dumb and Dumber,
Might want to hang on to that one.
that's how I want you to think when you think of these silly rules for no reason in Leviticus. They have deep meaning and connection. And if you meditate on them day and night, you will see the things that it is showing you and your life will get better. So when someone steals your donkey off the land and they take it to their family, what just happened? A line's crossed. Somebody took something that was lawfully mine, right? I mean, a line is crossed. Let's say your car got stolen. You ever had your car stolen? It's the worst. It'll break your heart. It's just a car though, right? Nobody got killed. I can buy a new car. Yeah, I can buy a new car, but it sucks. I got to call the cops. I got to write a report. I got to call my insurance company. The cops will say they'll work some leads. They won't. You call the bank, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's brutal. Just give me the car back, man. Please, I won't even press charge. Just give me my car. That is the feeling. That is Leviticus. Do you guys feel it's just, hey, you took my donkey, man. Give it back. He's like, no, it's mine now. What? How is that in reconcile? That's the good news. So that's why I mentioned the first two. There's really more than three, but if that first transgression was an act of consuming something on the other side of a fence, a chatat, a sin offering, is the reverse. We're back in right standing with God. Humans are giving back something of their own to the divine for him to consume and enjoy. And the owner watches this happen. They see the priest literally eating the food of the animal. That's theirs. That's their property. So let's say it like this. I ate something that was God's and I benefited from it. Now a priest who is the chosen representative at this time in the camp, he is going to eat something of mine and he is going to benefit from it. And when I offer something from my side of the table and I make an offering to make amends, a hat in hand gesture for something that I benefited from, I got bigger, stronger, faster from this. And I got it through means that were not above board. By doing that act, I'm signaling to all that see it, including my community, my family, my neighbors, and my God, that I want to make things right with my friend. I want to rectify the situation, shake hands, make peace. That, my friends, is what it's about. That is so beautiful. The Bible is amazing. You should read the Bible. And that explains the sin offering. Here's the one little change on the peace offering. This is the Shalomim. It's about sharing. Okay, so the Olah is pure submission. You surrender. This is all yours. Take it. I don't even have any lot in this. The peace offering is, I love you so much. Anything I have is yours, as opposed to the vibe of the going up. This is more respect, awe. In my opinion, the Olah is a posture of, you might have given me a little bit down here, and I'm really thankful for it, but this is yours. Take it away. I'm so thankful. And then that's a similar thought that God is God and I am not. And that is a wonderful posture. They're kind of cousins. You see that, like the Olah and the peace one. So when Noah got off the boat, his first move when he landed is an Olah. It's a burnt offering to God. And can you feel that stance? He's kissing the ground like a sailor coming off a ship. He's so happy to be alive. His family's alive. All he can do is just send a thank you card to God. Here it is. Take it. And then I think of the shelamim, the piece of like a picnic, we are crossing another boundary, but this one's intentional. It's an olive branch. Part of the meat is eaten by the owner of the animal, and part is given to God. Let's go back to the realms and domains. This is saying, yes, I agree. There's definitely God's space and there's my space, and his is way better, and I have nothing to offer except this. This is your kid drawing you a picture and saying, Dad, isn't this cute? You're like, it's pretty good. But it's the effort. It's the kid's effort. I know there is nothing in an offering, but this is all I got. And it would mean the world to me if you would share this with me, God. Take a bite, please. You have your bite, I have mine. Let's just sit together. And we go forward. I love that, man. Do you see that? It's knowledge that we are small, he is big. But don't fret. I've got some weird to get into. There's some dynamics and stories in the saga, and one of the best happens to be on the first day of the job. Get ready for that one. But to finalize, I just wanted to see this book and show you it's not difficult. It just hasn't been conveyed to you in a way that didn't look like zeros and ones on a drip screen. But do you see the awe-inspiring posture? It's not blood and smoke. It's about making sure you remember every day that you are not God. You should have nothing but gratitude all day, every day, and see the divine in the bunny rabbit, in the neighbor, in your enemy. These Levitical laws, they're just rules and regs for this time period, for this people. But the notion of it is the reminder. It always is. That's why I wanted you to see Adam and Eve again. We are called, just as they are, to be stewards of this creation. When you and I take for granted and dominate the resources that he leaves us here, that is a violation, guys. And when we are also lazy and do nothing with these wonderful resources, that is a violation. When we take from others what is theirs and we know what we are doing, that's a violation. And God says, however you treat each other down there, you're treating me like that. Do you know why? Because you're my image bearers. So whenever you treat someone bad, I made that person. I love that person. I didn't make a gorilla in my image. I didn't make a great white shark. I didn't even make the lion or the lamb. I made you. So even if we offer a sin offering or a peace offering or a burnt offering, none of it actually does anything. But it does because God acknowledges it. That's the only reason any of this means anything. Isn't that wild? He set all this up and he wants us to participate. So I thought I have gotten to, it's not about reconciliation, but it's about seeing that you might have thought you were big down here. Maybe you started feeling yourself a little bit. All these offerings set you up to do. You get to see that, yes, there are boundaries, but none of them are mine. They're not even close. I am a fragile shell of a jar of clay, right? I got nothing compared to God. I am nothing in the face of everything. Turns out I have no domain. The one that I call mine is a gift from God, is an illusion. So how could I ever take from someone else down here? How dare I? Worse yet, how could I take from the very God that created for me? Ugh. So, I mean, is Enoch in heaven? Is Seth in heaven? They didn't do the rules. If a baby dies now and doesn't go all the way underwater, if all these rules, and you pause for a second, guys. Does that sound like the creator God who has no need to create us? Do you think he created us to play with us like puppets? Dance, monkey, dance? I mean, because that's what we do with power. That's what rebel spirits did with power. Hell, that's all we've ever done. We take land from each other. We kill each other. We build arenas in Rome. We have neighbors from other towns we conquered. We have them fight for our amusement to the death. That movie could have been today if you saw Gladiator 2. It's the same thing. There's nothing new under the sun. Thousands of years of us just lying to each other, killing each other, stealing from each other, taking property by force. Does that sound like the news right now? Thousands and thousands of years. It's the same heart issue, same fears, same false battles with your true self. The one God sees and begs for you to see as well. Just different technology. Instead of swords, now we have digits on a screen. They're both equally futile in the end to resolve conflict. That's what these laws are trying to get God to tell you. We need order, structure, discipline, and love. We need a factory reset here, gang. Only a true realization that Yahweh made you. He is obsessed with you. He wants you to find your path so damn bad. He will help you so much, but he doesn't talk like a human. So stop looking where you want him to show up. Wherever you want him to be, he's not where you think he is. But if you listen He will tell you where he is. Jesus modeled this over and over. He would pull away from the crowds. He'd sit with his Father, wait for the next instruction. Where do you want me to go? Where should I go? Who should I talk to? What do I say? That's what we're supposed to do, guys. We can't just sashay our way into his presence. It's dangerous for us. And he's like, but I love you. I want to help you. I don't know about you from time to time, but when I mess up, I feel like God is up there shaking his head in disgust at me. What a stupid human emotion. I have kids. I have 4 kids. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've come close to that feeling with them. And I am a flawed, angry, human with trauma issues from childhood. I have tendencies and inclination and chaos inside me. I am barely able to love at the level I'm capable of. But now multiply that by 10 factorial and add on the fact that you were created by him. And he breathed his spirit into our lungs and brought us into this world. That's the God who is looking down on us. He's rooting for you. He hates putting us through these tests and trials. But sadly, he knows it makes us closer to him. He's not disappointed in us. He didn't make robots. He knows that we are going through a lot down here. He's not laughing when we smash our face in the glass of this brutal maze. He's the one in your ear saying, get up. It's almost over. I'm so proud of you. Keep going. Do you see that light right there? It's right there. You're almost there. Keep going. I love you. That's our God. Don't get that twisted. Don't let anyone tell you different. God is begging you to lean in. He will run you down, but you have got to turn. So pay attention. Go where God is. And when he speaks to you, shut up and listen. I am Tyler Parker, and Sunday School is out.